Today I'm going to be drawing this image using Clip Studio and Adobe Photoshop on Windows 10. And I'm going to be using this XP Pen Artist 22E Pro graphics display to draw it. Let's get started. What is up, guys? Andrew here, and welcome to Comicbooker, all things comics from a creator. So I'm running behind a little bit this week on a whole bunch of stuff, so I figured let's do another sketching video. Anyway, I wanted to test out this XP Pen unit that I picked up almost 30 days ago. I actually have about 8 days left before I won't be able to return it anymore, so I've got to make sure that I really like this. And part of that is testing it out. So today we're gonna do a sketch of Erica Slaughter from Something is Killing the Children, a Boom Studios comic that I've been really enjoying. And we're gonna start here with a new document. Let's do that. And I've already got like a preset size, which is really solid for purposes. So yeah, let's get to it. I'm gonna start off with a quick sort of blue line sketch, and actually I'm not quite sure what it's gonna look like. So I've got some reference over here. These are like covers and stuff from the series. I really love her design. I think she's super cool. This is like the Jay Lee cover. I think this is like a Jeff Decal cover. I'm not sure who drew this one, but it's dope. But I really like her with that that mask. I want that mask. So let's see. Let's come up with something. I'm gonna leave this here on the side and do maybe a quick sketch of what this is gonna look like. All right. And I've got the figure kind of foreshortened here. You're gonna lose most of her torso because it's kind of going away from us, but you see a bit of her legs. I'm gonna maybe have like a foot peek out over there, but otherwise keep it as is. Uh-oh. XP Pen not responding. That's an issue. Alright, pause for a sec while I troubleshoot this. Okay, so one thing I completely overlooked is that the XP Pen is rechargeable, and I just totally forgot. So it's got a little charging port over there, and you're supposed to charge it for 1 or 2 hours using this cable, which plugs through into the back. And it's got a USB thing on the other side. So I'm gonna plug this in, and sadly I'm gonna have to wait like a couple of hours before we get back to this, but we will get back to this. And Erica, I won't leave you unfinished.
1 hour later.
Alright, so we are back, and the XP Pen is officially charged and we're good to go. So let's get drawing on this Erica Slaughter bit. It is 6:45 right now, so and I think I've spent maybe a couple of minutes on this thing, so let's just start the time here and figure out how long it takes us to get a good drawing. Okay, 6:45, clock starts, bloom, now. Alright, so the face is more or less done, and that's what, 4 minutes in. Let's do that. Boom. I'm actually gonna end up covering the face, but I just want to make sure that the structure is in place before I do anything weird. Let's make sure her anatomy is solid, and I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff. I am looking at the reference I showed you a while ago, so just making sure that the character design is consistent and looks cool. I really love her design. I think there's something very elegant about it. Just gotta make sure I come up with some nice clean lines and make it beautiful. trying to figure out if I should be drawing, you know, the leg out that way or in. I'm not quite sure what I think looks better. I think I'm gonna go with my original impulse, even though it means I can't draw as much detail. You know, I really wanna, I think I would have wanted to draw some of her boots. I think her boots are cool. Maybe just a little bit peeking out here. And something there, maybe. No, that doesn't look good. Yeah, that doesn't look good. That's up. So I'm just like trying to pay attention to the shapes here because, you know, you want to make sure it's smooth and elegant. I kind of have this directional flow on that side. This arm actually looks a little big, but we'll edit as we go. See, that way this all goes into like one big shape. So I'm just gonna make sure that the foot in the backmost area that peeks out is kind of joining together into big shapes. You want to make sure all the big shapes are working when you're doing a drawing. Alright, I think that looks good. Boom. Now let's draw a little bit of the weird monster or whatever. I think she's attacking a monster, but I'm not gonna do too much work on that. I think I'm just gonna maybe imply it. So it's always more horrific if you throw lots of eyes in. So that's what I'm gonna do. Something like that. And that way we have this like spiral direction in the entire drawing, right? Okay, so 9:56, that will have been about 11 minutes. And that's the sketch. I think that's ready to go. So I'm gonna, before I move on, I'm gonna do a quick flip just to check my drawing, and I'm already seeing some problems, so we'll fix some of those problems. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay. Alright, back to it. Let's get to some inking. By the way, if I haven't mentioned it yet, the program I'm using right now is called Manga Studio. And yeah, it's a really cool program. I think part of Erica Slaughter's design is her eyes. It's such a huge thing because most of her face is covered. You have to make sure you get that world weariness in her eyes. So there's a lot of focus here for me to get those like crazy eye bags down, like she hasn't slept, you know. Now I am drawing the mask on. Let's see if I can get that right. Let's look at the reference. I really like this mask design because I think the teeth on the front makes it such an interesting and almost iconic look. I know Erica is just another in a long line of fantasy horror monster hunters, but having her take on the form of a monster, at least symbolically, it's just a really good design choice. Plus, I have a feeling that that mask has connotations for the story moving forward, because it seems like the organization that she hails from uses that mask as well. But anyway, I'm working on the sword right now and filling out little bits of the whole design. My inking technique in general is to go for the outlines first and the heavy lines first, and then move towards getting little details and hatches in. There's actually not that much to hatch here, maybe a little bit here on the pants. For the most part, you know, it's a pretty clean design. So I just have to be really careful that my contours look good and that they fit the whole image well. And you know, here I'm doing the shoes. I really enjoy drawing the shoes, so you know, I almost missed my chance with the initial sketch, but I managed to throw in a bit of space for some foreshortened shoes in here. Alright, so Erica's mostly good at this point, and yeah, I think I've spent almost an hour on her. It's 7:38. I'm gonna put a few more finishing touches on her. She is the area of main focus, so I really wanted to make sure she got the most attention. Alright, time for the monster. I noticed in the comic that the artist Werther Dell'Edera, he renders the creatures in this very loose, shadowy style. And I think partially it's because the story calls for a creature that is made out of fear, and fear is kind of insubstantial and insoluble. So I'm gonna do something here that hopefully kind of captures that feeling. So I'm keeping very loose with this image, but I'm using the teeth and claws that I'm drawing almost like speed lines. So notice how everything is either dancing around her or pointing towards her, which I think really helps the composition because it emphasizes that spiral I was talking about earlier. And just to add interest, because you know, it's a lot of repeated shapes, I'm throwing some hatches here and there, and I'm making sure I have very dark areas as well as light areas. Alright, so I think that's more or less good. It is 7:56, so I'm about an hour and 10 minutes into the drawing. Inks are more or less good. I think I'm ready to go into colors, so we'll be switching over to Photoshop for this one.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Alright, we're back and we are in Photoshop. So let's do some quick flats and make sure our drawing is ready for colors. So the flatting stage in comics coloring is one of the most tedious but very useful stages, because what I'm basically doing is using the lasso tool to create flat areas of color throughout the image for anything with a similar base color. And that allows me to select them later on so I can do some really nice fine rendering. And it also gives me a nice, I guess, macro view of the drawing, because if something isn't looking good in flats, it usually means it's probably not gonna look good in the final. So I'm also paying attention at this stage to see if the whole thing's working as an illustration with flat colors. Whew, okay, so it's 8:18. That was about 20 minutes for flats, roughly speaking. And now I'm gonna do some very quick rendering. Let's see if I can figure some of this out. To add a bit of interest to the drawing, I am using for the shadow layer a halftone brush, a standard Kyle T. Webster halftone brush, which is free on the Adobe site, in order to give it kind of that Ben-Day comics look. Alright, renders are more or less done. It is 8:26, so what was that, 10 more minutes? I really want to get this done in under 2 hours, so let's try a little trick I wanted to play play with. So we are back in Manga Studio, and there's a really cool function they have called Colorize that I want to sort of play with and see what it does. Basically what it does is this Colorize all thing analyzes the line work that you do, and it sends the image to an AI, an artificial intelligence, on their servers and colors it for you basically. And let's see what it does. If I click Colorize all, that's processing. Boom. See, look at all this weird stuff that the computer did. I really enjoy that. So we are gonna export this, and now that we're back on Photoshop, I'm gonna open that file, copy it in, and make a kind of layer with it. Whoa, trippy. Let's not do that. Lastly, we're gonna go in and do some color holds, because why not? I think that'd be fun. Color holds are where I isolate the line work on a clipping mask layer above it and add a kind of lighter specific color to it. So you can see with her hair and with bits of the monster, I've added some color there. One more thing is I want to throw a few highlights down. Let's throw just some bits of white here and there. This is my favorite part of the whole process when you're finishing it. And I mean, at this point, the illustration's already pretty much done, but you can noodle with it forever and make sure that, you know, every little bit is polished. So I had to watch myself at this point because, you know, there's so many things you can do because the structure is already solid. So I'm throwing a lot of tricks down, little extra lines here and there, some brushes, and I mean a signature is important, right? So I'm gonna throw a signature in there anyway. But yeah, making sure it looks good.
Did you finish?
Almost.
Are you still drawing? Are you still recording?
Yeah, but it's more or less done. What do you think?
Looks good.
And here's the final image. If you enjoyed this video, I've got a bunch of other videos on my channel with me drawing stuff and making stuff. I also have a video where I unbox this thing for the first time, so check that out. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And also hit that bell icon so you know when a new video comes out from me. Usually that's Friday. Until next time, peace. I really like this comic book. It's so well written, it's so well drawn, it's just a really interesting story. Honestly, actually the story is it's the least interesting bit about it. It's just the way it's told is super duper compelling. Yeah, you just gotta read it, you know, check it out. Like the first issue, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah.